we now begin into really I would say the sort of the meat and potatoes of the yoga of the mind, really getting in there. Because now we know all the fears and we know all the beliefs and the negative beliefs that are blocking us, right? Now we figure out how those negative beliefs and fears are affecting us in our steps toward life. So the Yamas, the Yoga Sutras, have 8 steps, or 8 limbs, right? And the first one is the one of the Yamas are the attitudes, the actions, the thoughts that we have toward others, right? The things that we project out toward others, right? And so we have to be careful because the Yamas are the attitudes that we carry, and if we carry a negative attitude, we're going to automatically draw to us. If you can envision in your mind the fact that you are a magnet, right? If a magnet is blocked, does it magnetize things to itself? Right? Does it magnetize? Does it work? Does it magnetize anything to itself? If it's blocked, a magnet. Think about a magnet. Yeah? So if it's blocked, does it magnetize anything? Does it draw anything? No, right? Because it doesn't have the strength, right? So it can be blocked and it doesn't magnetize the things to us, right? If that magnet is on a vibration that's very low, it's going to attract everything that's there, right? Have you ever, I want you to try this little experiment at home. If you have a magnet, put some paper clips there, and then put the magnet above. So the paper clips are right here, and the magnet is up here. Do you think that those paper clips are going to go?
No. Yeah.
No, they're not. But if you take the magnet down here, right next to him, are the paper clips going to go?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. And that's what we are. That's how our energy is. So when we're vibrating up here, all the junk that's down here doesn't come. Everybody else seems to have it, but not us, right? And so then that's where you need to keep yourself up there. So how we keep ourselves up there is first, we need to get rid of the avidya, right? We need to be aware and get rid of all the junk. Secondly, we need to practice the yamas and be aware of those attitudes, beliefs, and things that we have toward others, and begin to practice, number 1, ahimsa, or ahimsa, or ahimsa. Doesn't matter. You say potato, I say potato, right? But it is ahimsa, which is the lack of violence, which is acting in consideration, out of love, out of respect, toward others, regardless of how bad they're treating you. Now, how many of you guys, the sutras, people think that this is a religion because it sort of matches and it sort of goes with, you know, what we learn in religion. How many of us remember that the Bible was quoted and literature was quoted, the religious literature was quoted as saying is, you turn the other cheek? Yes? Well, that's the same thing. Basically, if you work out of the 4th chakra, which is where ahimsa finds itself, and the 4th chakra is your center of love, right? If you work out of the 4th chakra, you will always attract that which is good to you, and good for you, and good for your highest good. When you begin to allow yourself to be activated by somebody who's treating you bad, you now have sunk to their level. Right? So let me give you an example. How many of you guys have been, or you thought you were okay, and everything was good, and then somebody comes along and they piss you off? Anybody? And so then what do we say? What do we say? Oh, she pissed me off. Oh, she did this to me. Oh, she did that to me. Oh, it's her fault she pissed me off. Oh, but you know what? It's not. It is not. You see, if we don't have control of our own, if we don't understand that we have control of our own feelings, emotions, and everything like that, anybody's going to knock us off our balance. You can't give up your power to that person. Now, I'm not saying always be, in balance. No, we get thrown off balance, right? We get thrown off balance. Wait a minute. Before I continue on this magnetic thing of crap, right, dukkha, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to take some time to cleanse myself, whether I do emotional freedom technique, whether I come on my mat and breathe, whether I sit and do meditation, whether I go ride my bike, whatever it is, but I'm going to get myself out of that frequency because I don't want to be there, right? Because if I continue there, bad things are going to start happening even more frequently, and more frequently. So you have to elevate your vibration. When you always when you always practice kindness and love, when you come from your heart chakra, it's not so easy to knock you off balance because you understand that that negativity towards you is not about you. It's about the other person is having a bad day. It's about the other person. They're in their negative thoughts. It's about them. Right? How many times haven't we gone to a restaurant and the poor waitress comes out and the food is wrong or it's cooked wrong, and then we take it out on the waitress, right? Does the waitress go home and cry every time somebody takes it out on them? No. Because at some point she realizes that it's not about her. That person there is having a bad day, right? Anybody in retail, you can't work in retail if you don't practice Ahimsa. Right? I remember working in retail when I was 18. And I remember this man very clearly coming in, and I saw him coming. Right? He was just an angry man. And he was coming in, and all of us, there was 5 of us working there, and all of a sudden I turned around, and all the rest of the girls took off. So obviously I was the only one standing there. I didn't move fast enough. So he comes up and he starts to say that we sell defective items and blah, 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 and da-da-da-da, and where can, and I better help him to hurry up and get, this stuff, and da-da-da. And I wasn't moving fast enough for him. So he called me stupid. All I said back then was, I understand you're upset, and I'm doing the best that I can to help you. That's all I said. Right? And to this day, I still get angry clients, right? I still get angry clients. I have this one person who came in and said, I've been following your diet and blah, 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 and this and that, and I'm not losing any weight, and I'm not feeling any better. And I said, really, have you been following the diet? And then they said, yeah, I did this, this, and that. And I said, everything you just told me you did is not even over here on the paper we discussed. Right? So is it my fault that it's not happening? No, it's not my fault. Right? So then I said, I can help you only as much as you help yourself. Right? So we have to practice kindness. We have to practice compassion, regardless of whether or not we like the person. We have to be big enough to put ourselves aside. Otherwise, things are going to happen that are not going to be good for us. And that's what Ahimsa is about. Right? So here's your homework. Are you ready? For some of you, this is going to be very hard. For some of you, this is going to be very easy. How many of you guys live at home? All right. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to practice Ahimsa. Regardless of your mother, and you're going to have to... Do you have children at home?
No, not anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll just have to think about that because this is going to be... It's mostly geared for these guys. Here's what we're going to do, right? You're going to practice Ahimsa to your mom and dad.
I have my mom with me. She lives with me.
Oh, good. You're going to... But I'm sure you practice Ahimsa all the time. It's different when we get older. It's different when we get past the age, right?
Yes.
But
I don't live with my mom.
you don't live with your mom? You live with somebody who pisses you off?
I'm not getting on that. I live on a dorm. Person lives on my dorm that I don't like.
Okay, there you go, there you go. Well, find somebody that you're going to practice Ahimsa with. All right? So here's what you're going to do. And this is going to get you guys really uncomfortable. All right? If you see somebody that needs help, you're not just going to watch, because I've seen you guys. Somebody needs help, somebody drops something, and everybody watches. Yeah, it's called the teenage syndrome. Y'all watch things fall. So I want you to what I want you to do is if you see something that falls, somebody's got papers that fall all over the place, something that falls, you go over there and you help them pick it up. Right? Number 2, or I'm just giving all kinds of scenarios. Number 2, let's say you hear somebody yelling at somebody else and you think that, perhaps they're doing, be careful when you get involved, but just smile at them. That's all you have to do is smile. The practice of smiling at them will bring down their volatility, right? Love and consideration. How many of you guys have ever seen somebody be cruel to animals? Yeah? Yeah, so that means to all animals. So if you find somebody being cruel, practice Ahimsa. Teach them. Practice Ahimsa. If your mom normally pisses you off, just smile. I love you, Mom. Thank you. And moms have a tendency to say things, not in always the nicest way, and you just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, yes.
What I do, I believe is part of this is like, I'm in the grocery store and I'm just about to pay, and I have a lot of groceries, and then I'm the next one, and I see somebody with only 1 item or 2 items, so I let them go first.
Yes, that's
I do
consideration.
that a lot.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah, that is Ahimsa.
I just did it, so I might use that one.
So you do that. You do that a lot. Find somebody else that needs help, right? Practice Ahimsa. I want you to think, here's the thing. I want you to practice at least 1 Ahimsa action a day, and then I want you to write 10 things that you would normally do like that one. 10 things on how to practice Ahimsa. If you were coaching somebody to practice Ahimsa, pick out 10 things how you think that they could practice Ahimsa. All right? We got it? Do I need to repeat that again?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So you are going to practice 1 Ahimsa attitude every day. Okay? Then you are going to write a list of 10, not every day, just a list of 10 actions and attitudes that you could, if you were coaching somebody, you could tell them, instead of doing this, you're going to do this. Or when you see this, you're going to do that, like she said. If she's at the grocery store and she's got a packed cart and somebody behind her has only got 1 item, she moves out of the way and lets that person go first, right? It's the same thing as when you're at Disneyland. People forget about Ahimsa, but You know, Disneyland is the perfect place, right? Because there's families all over the place, and then mother and son go over here, and then all of a sudden in the middle, way in the back over there is like dad and the daughter. And practicing Ahimsa would be allowing them to move forward to be together, right? So if you had the opportunity to do that. So 10 things, yeah? See? And then you guys need to read your email. And you also need to start reading chakra number 4. And today, some of the moves that we're going to do in the asana is going to open up the heart chakra. Okay?
On the midterm, is it going to be every overall of everything?
It's going to be 10 questions, 10 points each.
Okay.
And it's going to be, and it'll say right there. I'm going to take things like. Out of the book, right out of the book, I'll take a question just like I did before. I'm not throwing any punches, right? And right out of the book, and then you write a little short essay, right? And that's all about. And then I'll say to you, like, what are the 8 limbs of yoga, or what, or something like that. And you're just going to write it down.
So we answer the questions and then write down a short sentence? What was that second part?
Well, the questions are self-explanatory.
Okay.
Okay, so and they're going to be from the book, from chakra 1, 2, or 3, and then everything that we've covered in class, just the stuff in class. And they're not real hard questions, trust me.
So that's the midterm, but you said something about writing? An essay?
No, they're short answers.
Oh, they're short answers.
So it'll say like, what is yoga?
Okay.
You're going to write down.
So it's only answering those 10 questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your written final, and then your practical, when I come back, is the last week, right? It's the last week. So the last week you're going to bring in a blindfold, and you're going to be doing, and I'm going to be calling out the poses and working you through it, and you guys are going to be doing the yoga. Does that make sense? So you get 2, a practical and a final. But the practical, guys, is not so much about. Don't get all freaked out on me. It's not so much about if you know the poses, but mostly about if you're aware of how you're feeling, and aware and accepting and loving and practicing Ahimsa to yourself. Okay? Make sense? So if you don't get even any of the poses wrong, any of the poses right, you still could pass. And the reason that I have you guys blindfold is, number 1, when I'm trying to do what we're trying to do in this yoga, because what yoga does is it cultivates self-awareness, self-respect, and high self-esteem and total self-confidence, right? So perhaps, like, you don't have to.
Oh.